This is the WEN AF1270, a 3-speed, remote-controlled, industrial-strength air filtration system that moves a serious amount of air without turning the shop into a wind tunnel. My honest first reaction was simple. Big, strong, and surprisingly quiet. I hit the power, felt that rush at 1270 CFM, and expected a roar. What I got was a steady, low hum in the mid-60s dB range that didn't fight my conversation or music. That set the tone for the rest of my time with it. The unit looks like what it is, a rugged, purpose-built box designed to live overhead and run for long stretches. The black steel housing feels tough, the seams are clean, and the eye bolts are ready for hanging from joists or unistrut. It's hefty, which I like here. More mass means less vibration and a more planted feel once it's up. I wouldn't call it pretty, but I would call it confidence-inspiring. The filter doors open easily. The pre-filter and inner filter slide in without a struggle, and the remote fits the hand like a simple TV remote. No gimmicks, just practical touches all around. I mounted it on chains to ceiling joists and used a second set of hands for the lift. From my experience, that's the safe way to go. Once hung, it stayed put with minimal rattle, even on high. I run it on a standard 120-volt circuit. The motor is rated 4.2 amps, roughly 504 watts, so it's friendly to typical shop wiring. I can run it with lights and a few benches plugged in without issue, though I try to keep heavy machines on their own circuits. Key features that mattered most to me showed up quickly in everyday use. The 3 speeds, 750, 950, and 1270 CFM, let me match airflow to the mess I'm making. When I'm sanding or routing, medium is my default. When I wrap up a dusty run, I bump it to high and set the timer so it keeps scrubbing after I leave. The timer is the star here. I'm not babysitting a switch or climbing a ladder. The remote works from across the room, up to about 26 feet, and that's been consistent for me as long as I give it a clear line of sight. Let me break down some basics in plain terms. CFM means how many cubic feet of air the unit moves per minute. The AF1270 tops out at 1270 CFM, which is a lot for an ambient cleaner in this size class. ACH, air changes per hour, describes how often the air in your space gets cycled through the filters. WEN says up to 9.5 times per hour in a 1,000 square foot shop with typical ceiling height. In my shop with around 8-foot ceilings, that tracks. After a messy sanding session, the visible haze drops fast, and surfaces stay cleaner with the unit running during and after the work. The filtration is a 2-stage setup, a 5-micron pre-filter in front and a 1-micron inner filter behind it. Microns are tiny. Think fine flour dust at a few microns and smoke smaller than that. The pre-filter catches the bigger stuff and keeps the inner filter from clogging too quickly. When I was sanding MDF, the pre-filter loaded up fast, which is exactly what I want to see. I either blow it out lightly or swap it. The inner filter needs attention much less often. It's worth noting, this isn't a HEPA machine. It's designed for heavy air turnover and fine dust capture down to 1 micron, not medical-grade filtration. In my opinion, that's the right fit for most shops that already have tool-side dust collection. I did try an aftermarket inner filter with activated carbon for finishing days. With oil-based finishes and adhesives, the smell can hang around. The carbon layer helped take the edge off the odor while the unit kept the air moving. That flexibility is part of the appeal. Stick with the stock filters for pure dust days and swap to a compatible carbon inner filter when you're working with smelly stuff. On noise, I checked with a phone meter out of curiosity and consistently saw mid-60s dB depending on speed and distance. That lines up with WEN's 63 to 68 dB spec. It's lower than my shop vac and much easier to live with than most dust extractors. I can keep it on all day without it wearing me out. A few small notes from real use. The remote is simple and reliable, but it's IR, so aim matters. Line of sight is your friend. The size is substantial, so plan the hanging spot with airflow in mind. Pull air from the dirty end of the room and push it toward the cleaner end if you can. I also learned to check the pre-filter more often than I thought I needed to. Keeping that clean preserves airflow and keeps the motor happy. And I treat this as an ambient scrubber, not a replacement for a tool-side dust collector. Source capture still matters for your breathing zone. From my experience, the balance of power and civility is what keeps me reaching for the remote. The airflow is no joke at 1270 CFM, yet the sound stays in a comfortable band. The timer is more than a convenience, it's a habit enforcer. I finish a cut-heavy session, tap high, set the timer, and let it do the aftercare. The filter layout is practical and inexpensive to maintain, especially the 5-micron pre-filter. The coverage claim, up to 9.5 air changes per hour in a 1,000 square foot space, feels honest in real use. The 4.2 amp draw means I'm not rearranging circuits just to run it. And the 2-year warranty plus easy-to-find replacement filters, 3415 AF5 and 3415 AF1, make me feel like I won't be stranded down the road. Key features that seal the deal for me are the 3-speed control, the remote with meaningful range, the programmable shutoff, the sturdy steel body that stays quiet when hung properly, and the filter access that doesn't make me dread maintenance. It's perfect for woodworkers and makers who want cleaner air while they work, and a full scrub after they clock out, without juggling a dozen settings or walking across the shop to flip a switch. In my opinion, the only real know-before-you-buy points are straightforward. It's heavy, so plan the install and grab a helper. It's not a HEPA purifier, so if you're chasing sub-micron particulates at a medical level or expecting it to erase every finish odor instantly, set expectations accordingly or use a compatible carbon filter. And remember, this supports a dust collection system. It doesn't replace one. In conclusion, I'd recommend this for small commercial shops and serious home shops up to about 1,000 square feet that need steady, reliable air turnover with minimal fuss. The AF1270 brings strong airflow, honest noise levels, and the everyday convenience of a remote and timer. From my experience, it keeps surfaces cleaner, reduces that lingering haze, and makes the shop a more comfortable place to spend long days. If your goal is to keep dust moving toward filters instead of your lungs, and you want something you can hang, set, and trust, this checks the boxes. I will share detailed information about the WEN AF1270 4.2 amp 3-speed remote-controlled industrial-strength air filtration system in the comments section. Everyone, thank you for watching.